Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is November 13th, 2017. I'm here this early evening with Dr. Albers. Dr. Albers, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Scott. And how are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many things going on right now worldwide, from politics to war to natural disasters. It's almost just like complete mayhem worldwide. But earlier this morning, I had gone through my Facebook page, both the Planet X news and also my personal page, and I happened to run across a picture that a young lady from Australia was sharing. And I'm not too big of a fan of showing other people's photographs and videos because that type of technique's been used to try to take my channel down by issuing copyright strikes. So basically, you send me a friendly email and you say, "Hey, Scott, look at these pictures, blah, blah, blah." I show them, and then, you go ahead and you file this copyright strike, and they're all frivolous, but it puts black marks on your channel for a period of time. The troll operations like to use this technique, so they've basically ruined the part of my channel where I can show your photographs at free will and not have to worry about it. But anywho, just to give you a little backstory on the photographs that we're going to view in a little bit, when I was looking at this photograph, I clicked on it, and I actually downloaded it to my computer, and I started looking at the photograph more carefully because it really caught my attention. It's not a lens flare photograph or anything like that. It's not a camera anomaly. I sent the photograph off once I got the original from this young lady, contacted her, and we had a short conversation, and she sent me the original. And she uses a very expensive Olympus camera. The photographs are very, very good. But there was this one particular photograph that she showed that kind of blew me away. I showed it to Dr. Albers. We were both looking at it. And we were like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this definitely isn't a WSO Steve Olson lens flare. This is a pretty incredible photograph. We're still trying to make sense of it. But she sent me the original from the camera, and I sent it off to a friend of mine. He analyzed the photograph. I sent it to one of my subscribers who's, pretty good at clearing some photographs up even more. By the way, Shannon, if you're listening, you did a great job. Shannon sent me the photograph back, and he just, cleared it up, put it in a real high definition for us to view. I analyzed that again, just for hours, trying to make sense of it. So, we're not going to sit here tonight and make a bunch of wild claims, but sharing this photograph with all of you is probably going to blow your mind because, I've seen tens of thousands of pictures. And every now and then there's that one that just pops out that really freaks you out, especially when you're dealing with the subject matter that I do and that Dr. Albers does.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just going to go ahead and get right to it here. I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Now, this is the photograph that I asked this young lady from Australia if I could show everybody this on my YouTube channel, because it's very strange. Now, this is the photograph that Shannon placed into a much, much higher resolution so we can zoom in and not pixelate. And he did a damn good job. Thumbs up, Shannon, on this. He did a great job with this photograph, just, digitizing it. So it's pretty, this photograph here, I blew it up a little bit for you, but this is the original. This is what the original photograph was. This young lady with her Olympus camera took this photograph. Now, we've all seen the photographs of the lens flares and things of that nature. They're very distinct. But whenever I saw this, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. Everything is in place. The sun, the chemtrails, a very, very weird halo effect, which could be from the reflection of the sunlight off of these chemtrails right in front of the sun. Who knows, folks? There's so many ifs and ifs and ifs and buts dealing with this subject matter, trying to understand it. It's enough to drive you nuts, But as I got to zoom into it more, it started looking more and more three-dimensional. It kind of reminded me of photographs that the small group that I belong to with Prep Aussie, his group, and these are a bunch of great guys, smart minds, and they do have some instruments and telescopes and things of that nature. But when I was looking at some of their pictures of the moon, this almost reminded me of the moon, like how we can see it from Earth. But as I started zooming in even further, again, the sunlight, it's in the right place in conjunction with the sunlight off of this object. And I gotta say, excuse me, I gotta say, as you move into this picture a little bit more, since Shannon worked on this photograph, so we can actually zoom in this high definition. This gets really, really eye-opening. So I'll just put it right in the middle of the screen for you. And, no coloring changes have been made to the photograph. Nothing at all. And now you're starting to look at this and you're starting to see a very faint light blue, like marble color to this object. Dr. Albers, what planet in our solar system that we know of does that look like?
None of them. I don't think it can be.
Talking about the coloring, that looks like, doesn't it look like either Neptune or Uranus?
Yeah, I think Neptune is blue. Yeah, but it's at the outer edge of the solar system, so couldn't be Neptune.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that. I'm saying what planet does it resemble?
Yeah,
as far
I guess
as
it would
the
be
coloring.
Neptune then. Neptune is definitely blue. It's this seems to be a little bit paler than Neptune. Neptune seems to be, but yeah, Neptune.
So as we look at this photograph, and now I could zoom in even more without it pixelating.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the light is on the right side meaning where it should be in conjunction with the positioning of where that sun is.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I don't know about any of you, your resolution on your cell phones and your monitors on your computers, but I can see a darker blue, aqua blue,
yes,
in the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And what I could do just to get rid of some of the light, I'll move the light part of the object out of the screen so your eyes can focus on it. But it's clearly blue.
Yes. Yeah, there are two colors on it, the bright white and the blue. And to me, that would suggest two types of light reflecting off the object, perhaps.
Would it be safe to even try to judge how big this object would be? Like comparing it to, the size of Jupiter, the size of Saturn,
well,
whatever. I mean, it's just so hard to judge its actual distance.
Yeah, the thing is, we would have to figure out where it is in relation to the sun. If it's close to the sun, we can do a direct comparison with the sun itself, like we did with the blue stellar core. So if this object is close to the sun or slightly behind it so that the light from the sun's reflecting off it, then it would be about 1/3 the size of the sun, I would say. Just like the blue stellar core that you photographed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this is reminding me of because of the coloring. And that's what I was leading into.
Yes.
Yeah, folks, listen, this is what I'm going to do, so we can all get into analyzing this ourselves. Whenever we're done with the live stream, I'm going to go ahead and post this photograph on the Planet X News Facebook page. You guys can go over there, check it out. You can also download the photograph and, hey, work with it yourself. Check it out for yourself. See what you come up with. Many heads are better than just mine and Dr. Albers. So, somebody may see something that, is, excuse me one second, I had to move something there. Somebody might see something that is much different than what we're looking at. Maybe they know better.
Yeah.
But all I know is this is one of the most spectacular photographs that I've seen that I really can't explain.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, I think.
I mean, if that's a lens flare, that's one hell of a lens flare.
No, it's definitely not a lens flare. I mean, it looks like a real object. There's a little part of it on the right that's not there because obviously it's reflecting light. So it's not completely, you can see that that rounded part that is missing because it's not, there's no light hitting it.
Yeah.
So, how can a lens flare be like that? If we had a lens flare of the sun, it would look circular. It wouldn't look like this at all. So
yeah, and it does have a little bit of a pink cast around here.
Yes.
But, we've seen that. We've seen that in other photographs. I've seen that in NASA photographs from their space telescopes, looking at different planets, almost like a little bit of a smoky atmosphere.
Yeah, everything around the sun nowadays seems to have this pinky haze around it. I've noticed that, and I think, I've written about this, that I think that some of these stellar cores have brought argon that is now mixing with the sun's corona. And when it's ionized, argon will give off a pink light or magenta light. So that may be why we see this pink around the sun and often around the objects that are in the sun's corona, because they will have some of this gaseous plasma around them. They all share it between them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is just one of the photographs before Shannon digitized this photograph to clear it up for us. This is what I was working with. And even with this photograph and the type of camera that she was using, Olympus they make pretty good cameras. Even then, I could see the differences in the color, the darker blue, the aqua blues. And, and again, this part right here just being in direct line with the sun over here. And this is where you would expect to see the overexposure is basically what it is. This is an overexposure from the camera and the sun, but it is illuminating on another solid object.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's where you cut to, okay, wait a minute. How could the camera overexpose itself on one side of something that's really not there?
Of course.
So if you see people that take photographs of the moon whenever it's, 80, 85, 90% full, you'll see a lot of their photographs will be overexposed on one side. And even if you're using a very good camera, like she was, if you just don't have the setting correct, or you weren't expecting to even see something like this, then you're going to overexpose. You're going to be in that overexposure situation where you're not going to get that clear photograph because of all of the light on one side coming from the left over here. So it was, again, folks, I mean, it's just something that really caught my eye. I was trying to bring out some definition in it, but I don't have the type of software that Shannon does. And again, he did a great job clearing that photograph up and allowing us the ability to zoom straight in and not pixelize. Again, I mean, you can see the differences in the coloring.
Yes.
Lens flares, I mean, I've seen, I don't know, maybe 1 million of them.
Yeah.
And again, I was just trying to get myself a better view of this object. So I was zooming in and out of it. And I embossed one of the photographs. A lot of people say, oh, that doesn't tell you anything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you may possibly be right, but that's not what I was looking at. I was looking at the coloring, and that's what I wanted to see using this type of embossing technique. And it, I mean, it could be showing you three-dimensional objects. Remember, it's embossed, so it's supposed to bring out that type of detail. But this is what I was looking for over here. This color.
Yes.
And also, its spherical shape. And I mean, that almost looks like the outer surface of Jupiter with it, like, swirling atmospheres and things of that nature. It just, again, it's just a very intriguing photograph. It opens up your eyes to what we're investigating, what we're researching. And again, it's a pretty incredible photograph. I'll put all of these up on the Facebook page. You guys can check it out. Now, I inverted the original photograph. And again, this was before Shannon, digitized this photograph for me. But when I inverted it, I was able to zoom in pretty good without losing a lot of detail. And then once again, I come to my conclusion that, okay, here you go. This is the part of this object that's being illuminated by the sun. It's inverted, it's black. And then this side over here turned into a rusty colored red, pink, reddish pink color, which would, that would be indicative of the inversion of something that was that type of aqua blue. So again, I caught myself today, saying, wow, this is kind of incredible.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not a lens flare.
Yeah, I'm not buying the lens flare routine. No way, shape, or form this time. I don't know, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yeah. Well, no lens flare would have this double coloring on it, Scott. It would be one color. That's, you know, this actually has more like 3 shades. The white,
It does. I
yeah.
mean, it has the purplish blue and aqua colors to it.
Yeah.
And this is before Shannon, digitized all of these. And I took the original photograph, and I took all of the gamma out of the photograph, all of it. And this is what I came up with on my own. And again, this really got to me here, because this is as far as I could zoom in.
Yeah, I really like this picture, Scott. As you can see, there's this purplish gaseous atmosphere around the object on the left-hand side. And this is what I've seen on many of the stellar cores around the sun. They have this pinky gaseous atmosphere. The blue stellar core also had it. They exchanged this gaseous plasma with the sun. And so this is fascinating, actually, for me to see that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm still a little speechless at at what I'm seeing, because ladies and gentlemen, there's always that part of you that wants to be in disbelief because of everything that we've been taught from such an early age. It's all the same. We've all been taught the same things about our solar system and space and deep space and the galaxy and the universe. See, my philosophy is, look, none of us have been out there to explore it. So we have to depend on what others state that they find. We have to depend on what science says. And who is science to be the master of all of our knowledge? Do you all follow what I'm saying? Just because they say it's not possible doesn't mean it's not possible. Science has been wrong many, many, many times. And science is all based on trial and error. And they are human beings like me and you.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem in science is that we've been lied to just about everything. And they hide these kinds of things from us because it starts telling us that what we've been taught is wrong. And this is what these pictures are telling us, Scott, that what they've taught us about the universe is wrong. People have to learn, we all have to learn to rely on observation. If our eyes are seeing something, we have to explain it, not throw it away and say it's impossible because we've been taught that it's impossible. We have to, that object is there. Light is coming off that object. There's this pink atmosphere around that object. We have to believe what we see, not believe what we've been taught, because most of what we've been taught, we know by now are lies.
Yeah, I have to agree with you 100%. One of my biggest problems when I was young and going, through school was that I questioned everything. I mean, I don't know how many times I got myself sent to the office, and I went to Catholic school for the first 8 years of my my schooling. And the nuns were pretty strict, and I had some regular, I guess I'll call them civilian teachers, but I always questioned everything. My history teacher hated me because I questioned him on everything about American history. My science teacher She was a sister. And me and her clashed. Oh, my. But my point is, folks, Dr. Albers is right. You know, it's like the old saying goes, seeing is believing. So, I mean, these are our observations. This is what came from this young lady's camera as she viewed the chemtrailing and photographing the sun. And this is what her Olympus camera picked up. Now, can we say 100% that object is legitimately there? No, we can't say that 100%. Can science say that there's no possibility of an object that size being within our inner solar system, and that would cause massive disruptions? No, I don't believe they can say that either. See, because we have other planets in our inner solar system. We have the little planet Mercury that gets the closest to the sun in its orbit. And it's just a small little rock, but it survives. It's been there for eons.
Yeah,
Venus,
well,
same thing.
It's still very far from the sun's corona, Mercury, but yeah, but it's a tiny little piece of a rock, as you say.
But what my point is, as close as it is to the sun, it still survives.
Yeah.
It's still there. So, you know, like I said, folks, these photographs will be up on the Planet X News Facebook page after the live stream. I'll post all of them. You're free to download them from the page, analyze them yourself, take them apart, do what you got to do. Yeah. If you find something, let me know, because that's what we're all here for. You know, we are truly searching for the truth. I take a lot of bashing and I take a lot of bullshit from people because they don't believe in the subject matter. And probably the reason why they don't believe in the subject matter is because they probably watched one of Steve Olson's videos. Or they probably caught some bad information, you know, some other YouTube videos, crap documentaries, you know, they fell into that rabbit hole. But folks, there is entirely too much evidence supporting the fact, both visual and data coming in. I mean, I'm sure all of you have heard and saw what happened after our live stream yesterday. You know, we end up with 2 major catastrophic earthquakes. Now, both of those earthquakes were over a magnitude 7. I don't care what the reporting agencies are telling you. I jumped on the data on both of those earthquakes immediately, looking at the readings coming from all of the reporting stations and devices. And those were some very, very powerful shallow quakes. I mean, they ripped off the front face of buildings. Hundreds of people killed, hundreds of people injured. That's what we know. That's what the media has reported somewhat. But see, the media is now having to report on some of these numbers because people that are involved in these events are taking to social media immediately with their videos and their photographs. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something right now. I was having lunch earlier this afternoon, and I caught some photographs that were coming in from Iran that just literally broke my heart. And they were little legs sticking out from a massive concrete slab that, you know, came off of a building in Iraq. And the picture didn't hold anything back. You know, the whole blood and guts thing. And that wasn't the only child that was crushed in this event. Many of them were underneath that rubble. The photograph also shows a little boy, maybe no more than 5 years old. And in the picture, he's literally climbing out of a hole in the rubble with obviously a gash on his head somewhere and bleeding, and a man's open arm reaching down to pull him out. And you can see all of the other carnage. That it really upset me. Because here we are today, we're living in our comfortable lives. We're still alive. We still have our families. We still have all of our belongings. We still have breath, air in our lungs. Our heart is still beating. Our brain is still electrified. But let's just take a snap into reality here. Seeing those legs of those little children sticking out of the rubble. It ripped my heart apart, man. It really got to me.
Wow.
And then, you know, Costa Rica, again, boom, you know, they have another big earthquake. And we just talked about this on our live stream yesterday, and I was showing you that calendar and how I've been charting this for you know, 6 to 9 months. I'm losing track of time. And as I mentioned, during this time of the month, every month, this is when we're going to have that uptick. This is when things are going to get strange. We're going to have these events. People are going to lose their lives, and it's sad.
Yeah.
So for the people out there that you know, call me and Dr. Albers fear mongers and nibtards and idiots and every other name under the sun, no pun intended, the only thing I have to say to you is you can kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Because, folks, the fact of the matter is, all of the data is there. The photographic evidence is there. The observations are now being made worldwide from every culture on this planet. People are looking into the skies. And did I not say yesterday and the day before in these live streams, all of you, keep taking your photographs, because someone is going to catch something that's going to open our eyes. And here we are, not even 24 hours later, after me making that statement, we're in that situation. Now, earthquake activity has picked up considerably in the state of California. Also around the, you know, the Yellowstone region again. I would definitely say, you know, if any of you do not listen to Dutch Sense and his YouTube channel, his earthquake channel, you better check it out. I was listening to Dutch very, very early this morning, about 3 a.m., listening to his report from the earthquake carnage that had just happened. And we're seeing some major activity on the sun. We're going to go ahead and jump over to some of that real quick. So again, folks, those photographs, they are going to be up on the Planet X News Facebook page as soon as we're done with this live stream.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing I wanted to bring everybody's attention to, I posted this article on the Facebook page before we went to our live stream. I happen to be watching a report by Dabu7, and you know, you could hear the tension in his voice whenever he was doing his video about this article. This is coming out of Zero Hedge right now. We got this big mouth Senator L. Franken, and I can't stand this guy.
Mm-hmm.
My God, he used to be a comedian, okay? Like on Saturday Night Live 35 years ago. And I couldn't stand him then.
Mm.
But the headline is, Internet Crackdown Begins. Senator L. Franken wants Google, Facebook, and Twitter censor political speech. So basically, in a nutshell, this guy here, this Senator L. Franken, I mean, the people who elected him, they should be ashamed of themselves. But this guy now, he wants, you know, these big social media companies, he wants them to, you know, censor the political information that we are seeing on our social media accounts. And they're making this all about this whole Russian ordeal, this whole propaganda crap. And then what he's basically saying is, because Google and Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, because they couldn't get the job done censoring what we hear and see, then the government needs to step in and do the job. Whew. You know, I don't know about any of you folks, but those are some very inflammatory words when they hit my ears.
Yeah.
Maybe this fruitcake Al Franken, maybe he forgot to read the United States Constitution. That our forefathers sat down and wrote. And hey, look, you know, I may go off a little bit here in a strange way, but listen, you know, maybe not everybody liked our forefathers. Maybe they didn't like who they were or what they were. But regardless of that past in 1776, that piece of paper that we call the United States Constitution, that is what we live by. That is the law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. And now, in a technology age, as we have advanced, now this new government wants to step in and take all of it away from you while they spend all of your tax dollars and give you nothing in return, not even the freedom of your speech, not even the freedom to hear what you want to hear, read what you want to read, do what you want to do. I don't mean to get too political, but this is what is happening worldwide. This has already taken place in other countries. I was reading another article today about what is happening in Sweden. And now, finally, the people of Sweden have absolutely had it with all of the refugees that were filtered into their country. Basically, you know, some good people and a lot of bad people taking advantage of a system that was supposed to be there to help. But see, that's not what the governments wanted to do. They wanted to plant all of these people in all of these countries like little sects, like little groups, like little cliques. Mixed in with the good people that needed help. You know damn well that is what happened a few years ago. So now some of the photographs and the reports that I saw coming out of Sweden rocked my brain. The people are just, they've had it with the raping crime that is going on in their country, and their government holding it within their country so it doesn't get out. This is just not happening in Sweden. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Norway. It's happening in, what's the other country having a big problem?
Germany, perhaps.
Germany, yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, I think in Spain, in France.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Belgium. Yeah, it's happening all over Europe. Switzerland. It's been invaded. Europe has been invaded.
Yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely terrible what is happening. We're going to take a quick look at this earthquake situation here in the state of California because, you know, this is a little alarming. Some hours ago, oh, there was another one here. It was actually a magnitude 4.66. I guess now it is a 4.58, unless there was another one. Yeah, they're happening in a straight line. Look at that.
Yes. Yeah, these are quite strong earthquakes for California. There's definitely an uptick, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, quite
a lot of the earthquakes have already been removed off of this.
Yeah, they do that very quickly.
Yeah, the earthquake in Costa Rica is gone, but there is definitely an uptick. This is the second time I've seen these straight line earthquakes right on this ridge from Oklahoma, Arkansas into the New Madrid fault line. A little bit northwest of Yellowstone here. Small earthquakes.
Yes.
But notable. When you start seeing them in these lines like this, these patterns, I mean, to me, that's quite alarming.
Yes, I agree.
You can see what's going on from north of Los Angeles into Los Angeles and south into San Diego. A lot of activity straight along the San Andreas Fault. So, you know, it's probably going to get a little bit worse. No doubt about it. We're going to take a quick look at the sun because this is the current SDO 48-hour loop. But as we just sit here and chat for a minute, I mean, just take a look at the amount of solar flaring. These massive filament releases coming
Yes.
off the sun. And this is your territory, Doctor, if you want to elaborate
Yeah,
on some of this.
to me, the sun is becoming more and more unstable. These they actually plasma just coming out off the surface of the sun. This one is the 304 angstrom, so it shows the top of the chromosphere. And we see this plasma just jumping off the surface, going quite far up, some of it disconnecting. These are CMEs. When it disconnects and moves off into space, that's a CME. And we're seeing a lot of this. And I know that the objects that are there close to the sun are provoking this sort of activity. The plasma is going out to envelop these objects because they're connecting magnetically with the sun. And the sun is getting weaker, and yet because it's getting weaker, it's getting more and more unstable. It's finding it more and more difficult to hold on to its plasma. So the objects are able to provoke it into stronger and stronger activity, actually. And it's very dangerous for our planet because the more CMEs and solar flares we have, the more ionization there will be of our ionosphere, which will then create induced currents inside the Earth, and then we'll get these strong earthquakes. And we see that the earthquake activity is increasing. And even if they hide everything, they often hide what's happening with our magnetosphere. We can still see enough earthquake activity to see that there's something happening to our magnetosphere. And this is what it is. And it's not just this. We have so many coronal holes on the sun, and I've also explained that the coronal holes are due to these objects connecting magnetically to the sun, and they can do that from very far away, from the outside of the solar system. They can connect, and these coronal holes will then open up, and as the object moves in relation to the sun, or the sun moves, then the coronal hole will seem to close and open up as this rotation occurs. And you can see that so many coronal. There's the one on the north part of the sun, right? There's a permanent coronal hole there. And then there is this, it moves down towards the equator there. And then there are a couple of coronal holes in the southern hemisphere of the sun. And a large area, it's usually around the equator, which is quite dark. It's not quite a coronal hole, but because it's so dark, then we're also going to get a stream of particles coming off there. And to me, it seems, especially in the gauss X-ray image, you can always see that the sun, it's like it's becoming one large coronal hole, because there are so many of these objects connecting magnetically to the sun, and it's getting weaker as well. And of course, then the Earth is in the stream coming out of the coronal holes towards the object, and this leads to increased ionization of our atmosphere, our ionosphere, because our magnetosphere is getting impacted by the stream of fast-moving solar wind. So all of this is affecting our planet. It's very dangerous for our planet. Our sun is a great danger to our planet right now because of the stellar cores in the sun's corona. Yeah.
That coronal hole at the very top of the sun looks very, very ominous. It's almost got a perfect V shape leading down into the lower part of that coronal hole where it joined up right about here.
That's right. And you can see that as this coronal hole turns away towards the right, another one opens up on the left, starts to open up. And that one will probably grow to a much larger size.
Now, it looks like there's a lot of activity right here that's going to be turning towards us probably over the next couple of days.
Yeah.
You can tell very, very clearly by the by the white color. It's a lot brighter. You can see this activity right where my cursor is.
Yes, these are usually sunspot group regions, and when these objects approach these spots, then they pull on the magnetic field, which is strong in these areas anyway. And then we can certainly get these X-class flares, which we've had before, and we can have strong CMEs. We had that filament release the other day. These objects just provoke the sun into having more and more of these high energy events. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we're going to see more and more and more of this, and this is the set pattern.
That's right. Yeah, we can see that some corona plasma disconnecting there on the left. So that's a CME, obviously. And we're getting CMEs all the time, 2, 3 a day. It's quite a lot of CMEs for the sun, how weak it is actually. And we're supposed to be moving towards a solar minimum, yet we're getting quite a lot of CMEs happening every day. So
yes, I agree. Now, a lot of you have sent me emails and asking me about Cactus. And you can find Cactus, just go ahead and Google it as you see it right here on my screen. And this is basically a coronagraph. We look at it quite a bit as they upload the data.
Yeah, it's based on the LASCO C2 coronagraph data, and which detects CMEs, and the Cactus just shows it in different shading so that it's even easier to see the CME. And they plot all the data for each CME. They tell you the time and the average speed and so on. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good site. I'm able to catch some information very, very quickly after a CME happens. And if you go right over here, I mean, you could use the actual time chart over here. You can click on them. It'll tell you the strength of the CME. And all of the data is here. Dr. Albers is better at reading all of this data up here. But yeah, if you just go to Cactus,
yeah,
just Google it. I think I've put the link. I'll put it in the chat real quick.
Good.
So if any of you want to go and check that out, you can. Now, earlier this morning, I was checking out the CMEs that were occurring on the sun. And you can go, you can click on the actual CME and basically right here gives you the times and the dates. And these are links to the stages of the CME. So you can click on those and it will bring you to this. And you could download it by clicking the arrow. And you could blow it up like we're going to do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let this play. And it goes very, very rapidly because all they are wanting to record is the actual CME itself. So, I'll let this play for a second. And once again, as I've mentioned, during this time of the month, what I've been charting out is that we're going to see this activity through these 3 weeks of every month. It's about 20 days is what it calculates out to. So once again, as I was looking at this very early this morning, I once again noticed something that just kind of looks out of place. And I go through this frame by frame, and I take a very close look at everything. And as I move the cursor through, I'm watching the progression of the coronal mass ejection. And we've spotted this object many, many times. For probably the last 5.5 to 6 months, we've been finding it engulfed in these coronal mass ejections because it's causing them.
Mm-hmm.
It's causing the disturbance on the sun.
Yes.
When it gets close to the sun at this time, this is when all of this is occurring. All of the data that we've been acquiring, it's all pointing to this timeline. Right now, we are in the first active week of it.
Mm-hmm.
There will be 2 more weeks of it after this.
Mm-hmm.
So as I stop the frame here, look what I see here.
Yes.
Bingo. A perfectly round spherical object in the coronal mass ejection on this side, right where it should be, right where I catch it during this time of the month, during these coronal mass ejections. There's one of them again.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Yeah. You know, Scott, if you go back there, I see something quite strange there. Do you see that below the actual, well, it's supposed to be the occulter, and the sun's supposed to be inside there. You see that circle,
Yeah.
that white circle? To me, that is very strange, because the sun is supposed to be much smaller than the occulter. And yet what we're seeing there is the outer surface of the sun, or from where the light's coming from, being beyond the occulter itself. And I have been writing lately some articles about the fact that I think the sun is growing in size. And I think that's what it indicates, because the sun's seems to be much larger than it's supposed to be. And this is, I think it's the stellar cores connecting in the inner corona to the sun. And it's almost like the light from the sun is being emitted not from where it was before, but it's being pushed outwards. So that it seems like it's growing in size. And to me, that's what that circular outline is showing. It's yeah, it's surprising, and yet it's almost scary to see that, because our sun is changing dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, this is how we go about finding a lot of this, and it's trying to track this object, and we have to have at least a little bit of a timeline, and there you go. That is a perfect spherical object.
Yes, definitely.
Right engulfed in this coronal mass ejection. Now, some will say, oh, it's just part of the picture. It's just part of the picture. Well, why aren't there more of these spherical objects within this coronal mass ejection if it's just a damn photo anomaly? Listen, I have caught way better captures in this cactus during these coronal mass ejections that are freaking undeniable that it is a massive spherical object right within this coronal mass ejection. It's caught up in it because it created it.
That's right.
It's like it's an agitation towards the sun. The sun reacts, and boom.
Yeah.
We have this occurrence.
That's right. You've caught it over and over again, and some of them are just so clear. But definitely when you see these spherical shapes, and you can see even the shading around you.
Exactly.
Around it tells you it's a three-dimensional object.
Yeah,
and
it's all where it should be.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so there you go. And I progressed through it. And this is all, these frames are so far apart. See how, far I'm moving my slider before the next frame.
Yes.
So remember, folks, this isn't like, in milliseconds. These are, I don't even know how far apart these are. I'd have to actually look. They could be hours apart, the frames.
Mm-hmm. And you see that circle at the bottom of the sun, that large circular outline appears and disappears. And this shows that the sun is flashing. Yeah. And we've seen that in many, in the core 2 images, I've seen that the sun seems to be flashing. And that's to do with the electrical interaction that it's having with the other stars in the corona. So it makes an electrical connection that goes on and off, on and off. And because it's establishing a new, it's a dynamic mechanism that I think is happening with the sun. The sun is changing and it's connecting to all these stars, possibly making one whole system. And yeah, it's very interesting, but scary at the same time. We don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Mm.
I'm gonna just jump out of these other screens here real quick. I wanted to pull up one more shot here real quick. Where is it? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is it here. Yeah, I just want to share my screen real quick. I had taken a screenshot of that photograph earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I gave it a different shade of a color so I could try to bring out a little bit more definition of this object. Mm-hmm. And that's what we just looked at on the Cactus. And again, folks, you can judge for yourself. What are the odds of, once again, we having a perfect spherical object encompassed in, once again, another coronal mass ejection.
Yeah.
So there you go. So for all of the people who, call us a liar and you're a fear monger, you're a fraud, you're a criminal, all of the adolescent name calling crap. There you go. I mean, that one's right in your face too.
Yeah.
I want to be the first one to, like, kind of rub it in your face like a piece of dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we know exactly what's happening, And
Mm-hmm.
so what? So what? I want to use my time, and Dr. Albers wants to use her time on researching this subject matter. Who cares? If you want to watch the videos,
Mm-hmm.
Read the reports, then it's up to you. But nobody is forcing you to review the information. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So for, people who come to my channel and the Facebook page and spew your bullshit, well, save it. Save it. You have no scientific data whatsoever. You're a complete moron.
Yeah. I see they have stopped mentioning certain things like the Roche limit and things like that. At least because I wrote that article on that when
yeah, they still mention it like they know what the hell it really is. I mean, if they didn't go look it up and read up on it and maybe try to understand it, they never heard about the Roche limited ever in their life.
Yeah, well, I have an article on that, so they can go and get an explanation as to why it doesn't apply.
Yes, exactly. And, once again, folks, Dr. Albers and I, we released book number 2, and it's already under attack, naturally. You notice that, these idiots will attract themselves to us, and they think that they're out there doing good. But we know who they are, and they just don't want the truth to get out there.
Mm-hmm. They are afraid of the truth.
Exactly. So if we provide you with a book that at your own free will you can go and purchase if you want to, if you don't, no problem. But in order for us to reach other people that we're being blocked from, this was one of the ways that Dr. Albers and I discussed about getting more of this information into other people's hands that are legitimately blocked from seeing YouTube and certain channels and things of that nature. We know it's happening. So what we've decided to do, once again, Dr. Albers and I, and she did most of the work, put the second book together. Now what we're going to do is all of her reports, we're going to be putting those together and releasing 5 reports a day. And, it's almost like a magazine format. And within that are going to be nice, clear photographs of all of our observations, everything that we're finding. And we're going to go ahead and publish that periodical every single 2 weeks. And there are going to be people out there that don't like it. And guess what? Too damn bad. Because there are people out there that want to see it. We think that it's going to be a good visual aid for someone who wants to talk to someone else about that subject. Hey, Bob, check this out. Look at this. Read this. Hey, do you want to borrow my book? And like I said, we're going to try to keep it in a magazine format, 8.5 by 10. It's a little more expensive to produce that way, but, nothing's free in life. But we're going to try to keep the cost down to about, $10 or $12. We have to see how it's going to turn out. So in about a week or so, the first issue of that is going to be coming out. It will be available on Amazon. And then, people begrudge you because you wrote a book or you wrote 2 books and you're selling the book. Okay. The last I remember, I think I live in a free society somewhat here in the United States. We believe that we have the right to sell a book, just like everybody else. Whenever your boss pays you for the work that you did that week, why should we begrudge you for getting a paycheck for the work that you did? We've already tried to get the information out there in different ways that were free, but they're blocked. So if you have to put a damn price tag on the information in the form of a book, and money drives everything, it drives the companies that publish the book to get it out there because they're taking most of the money. So what the hell is wrong with some of you people, especially the idiots, the idiotic morons out there that begrudge you because you wrote a damn book? You're a moron. I mean, what do you think, Doctor? I mean, do you think they are in moron status?
Well, Scott, we have to remember that it takes effort to write something. And, most people believe in getting rewarded for hard work. And so the fact that we are getting a little bit of reward from our hard work of writing the book, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Plus, as you say, Amazon does make most of the money. So that's the way it is. And then there's the cost of printing. We have to take all that into account. But the thing is, these people are attacking us because our book is about the truth. They don't like the truth. If we had just written a novel, no one would bother. It wouldn't be true anyway, so no one would bother us. But because we wrote about something which is the truth, it's about what's going on in the solar system, and it talks about real science, not the science that we are nowadays getting taught in school and at the universities. Most of it is a lie. And all of this, all that's written in this book, contradicts what's being taught because it's based on observation, something that physics is supposed to be about, but it has been changed to be about theories that don't, without any evidence for them. So this is why, because the truth, the society is based on lies, not truth. So when you come out with truth, it is opposed. And that's the real reason why these people oppose it. They don't like the truth, Scott.
Oh, I mean, my personality. I think they're nothing but a bunch of morons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I know that
you're a much nicer person than I. You would let them breathe. I wouldn't mind seeing them take their last breath. It's just me.
Yeah. Well, we may be different in the way we express ourselves, but I know that you question everything. And like you said, you started doing that as a student in school. And you believe in the truth. We both believe in telling people the truth. And perhaps you're more outspoken in fighting off the evil than I am. And maybe that's why we need to be together, because maybe I'm too nice, Scott.
Yeah, just go ahead and say it, Doc. I got a big mouth. You can say it.
You outspoken, Scott, and I like that about you.
You're damn right. Damn right. Let's step over here real quick and let's jump into our pop-out chat there. I've been kind of busy with what we've been looking at. And listen, everybody, we got the live chat up on the screen. Let's get some quick opinions, drop some comments on the photograph that you guys saw from Australia. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Because, again, the picture still has me in awe. It's been a long time since I've seen a photograph that's really, really opened up my eyes, really had me questioning things. And the determination today and the help that I got from a few others in trying to translate that photograph, man, it's really, really got my mind bent,
Yeah.
And one thing, folks, that you're not going to get from me, you're not going to get a fake individual. I am who I am. This is what you get. Take it or leave it. Yeah, sometimes I might, drop an F-bomb or a swear word here or there, but hey, I'm not perfect. That's who I am. you're not here watching a fake individual telling you, "Oh, I love all of you. Oh, have a blessed day. Oh, donate to my ministry."
Yeah.
Anywho, I take enough beating from these hillbilly trolls,
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. I was fighting with them earlier before we went on the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually enjoy it. It gets rid of some of my stress, beating and slapping them around, especially that one scumbag. He goes by the name Tidge Hand. I mean, all he does, he stands on the corner and gives hand jobs. But anywho, there's a lot of good people out there that are really trying to find the truth. And what they do in their spare time, like taking photographs of the sunrises and the sunsets and the chemtrail clouds, and they're being vocal about it by putting it on their YouTube channels or their Facebook pages or their Twitter accounts. Who cares? It's their account. It's their life. It's their time. Who are you to even comment on it?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
So we've all come together here on a YouTube live stream for me to show you some things that I found. What is so wrong with that? I mean, let's be realistic here. Am I sitting here tonight telling all of you that you better bow down, bend over, and kiss your ass goodbye because the world's going to end tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. No, it's ridiculous. I mean, if somebody doesn't want to hear about the photographs or what we've been doing, they can just not listen, Scott. With no one's being forced to listen to us. But it's the fact that, again, we're telling people the truth, and this world doesn't want people to be told the truth or the leader.
That's the absolute truth. But here, Mr. Scott Scarfo, let me answer your question. He's in the chat. He says, "I'm a faithful follower, but please answer, why are you against WSO?" I'm only going to go over this one more time, and I want all of you to hear me very, very clearly. I'm not a bully. I'm not jealous of Steve Olson because I have nothing to be jealous of. I don't have a jealous bone in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up that way to not want what others have. But my problem is that Steve and Alex Lujan, who is another scam artist, they perpetrated a complete fraud on the Planet X or Nibiru communities, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And they were showing eclipse photographs from a gentleman in California that took the photographs in 2014. When they got caught and they got called out, and I even called them out because I knew it was a sham. You cannot be telling people, "Oh, look at this eclipse photograph. That is definitely Planet X eclipsing the sun." Okay, there's a big difference in what I do and what they were doing. They were outright knowingly lying to all of their subscribers, their viewers, their followers, their people. So if you, as a leader of a channel, you don't mind sitting there lying to your followers, man, that's pretty sad. But then when they got caught, they developed this whole story and put it out there that I was behind it. That's what pissed me off, because I had nothing to do with it. I simply called them out on, why are you showing this garbage to your followers when you know damn well it's a complete lie? Well, they had to cover their tracks. They invented the whole story about the deep state, and Scott colluded with Alex's longtime childhood friend all the way on the other side of the country, and I don't even know the guy. Doctored up some inbox messages from Facebook Messenger and put it out there. Lie after lie after lie. So, you know, if any of you think that I should just stand back and take that, man, you better go get a breath of fresh air, because that's not going to happen. You got the wrong guy here. That's a fact. And then the other fact is, you know, Steve's been involved in a lot of ripping people off for mega amounts of money. And people that had faith in him and followed him and end up getting burned. Now, if any of you think that that's okay, then, you know, scoot on out of here. But I don't think that's okay. And Dr. Albers and I have worked very, very hard, and we've given up a lot to try to find the truth and try to show people what we're finding. Everybody makes mistakes, don't get me wrong. But when you've been doing this for as long as Steve and myself and Dr. Albers and a few others, then you should know better. You know, I don't consider any of you my audience, my followers, my viewers, or my subscribers. We are all just common people gathered together in a venue, and I'm showing you what I found. That's it. But if you are following me and you are listening to my research and, you know, Dr. Albers' research, then you shouldn't be lied to. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to add, Scott, that there's a difference between making a mistake and showing something that you think is something special in the sky because you just think it is, but it may not be, and actually absolutely knowing that what you are doing is an old image from many years ago of the moon eclipsing the sun, and you show it as an object eclipsing the sun, knowingly lying about it. That to me is unbelievable. How can someone do that? How can someone who has read the Bible even think that that's the right thing to do? And you have to realize that the Bible says you shall know them by their fruits, not by what comes out of their mouths, but by their fruits. If somebody has as a fruit lies, knowingly lying to the public, then you have to know that what's in them is what you see happening. It's lies. So, you know, that people still think, oh, WSO is so nice because they say all the right things. Yes, they say all the right things, but what are they actually doing?
I agree. I mean, it's actually gotten to the point where, you know, it's tarnished the real research, the real investigation into all of this. You know, folks, we all know, everybody here, we all know that this isn't fun and games. It's not a play toy. We're dealing with some very, very serious situations on many, many different levels. You know, from political, you know, to warfare, to weather, to, you know, what is actually happening to our planet on a daily basis. People are losing their lives. It is a very serious situation. It's not a game. And when you turn it into a game, well, that's what starts to piss me off. And, you know, it really brought things to light today to see those Twitter photographs of those little children crushed within those buildings, it will forever be burned into my mind what I saw today. It broke my heart. It almost brought tears to my eyes. You know, and these are people that don't have a lot. You know, they don't have what we have here in the United States and many of our countries. But yet within a split second, their little innocent lives were snuffed out by a massive slab of concrete. You know, and if you don't feel for that, then you're not human. And it really did get to me today to see those photographs. And that little boy coming out of the rubble. He was walking on his own, but you can see the shock in his eyes, the blood dripping from his head, and the open arm reaching out to grab him. It touched my heart, and it made me think about what I'm doing with my time that belongs to me in my life. And I choose to sit here with all of you today and discuss these matters. Each and every one of you have chosen to sit here today and listen to me and voice your opinions and your comments in the live chat like normal people. But really, seeing those photographs today, they really got to me. That's all I have to say. You know, and this is all directly attributed to what we're researching and we're trying to find out, you know, and we have very, very limited resources. We don't have the inside to all of these government agencies. Man, we don't know what the hell they're doing, and we know that they're all up to something. I mean, I'll speak for myself right now, but there are days that I wake up and I literally fear for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't even matter where you live on the face of this earth nowadays. It doesn't matter if you live in some little podunk small town in the United States or some small village in another country. Your beating heart, the air in your lungs can be snuffed out in a split second. None of us are immune to that. There are so many things happening on so many levels. It really concerns me. You know, you can put all of the Planet X investigation aside and just look what's happening in the politics and the governments in this country, in your own town. You know, right where I live, a lady who was a long time public defender in one of the nearby counties for 25 years, well known everywhere, worked in the public defender's office in one of these counties since she got out of law school, her first and only job in law, 25-year career. Yesterday, somebody snuffed her out. Right here in the Pittsburgh area, it's under investigation, but she was found dead in her burned out house.
Wow.
And I know this lady. She's been in the newspapers constantly for years and years and years and years. Very vocal. A public defender.
Wow.
So somebody snuffed her out. Just
Sure.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many things going wrong in a lot of countries. We got this situation brewing on the east coast of Africa right now involving 9 or 10 countries where the plague is running rampant. The plague.
Yes.
I caught some wind of a few articles and some Twitter information that was coming out of some of these countries on the east coast of southern Africa. And, so many people are dying of this plague outbreak that they are literally wanting to burn the bodies. They don't want to give the bodies back to the family to bury. The governments want to burn them in massive pits, like raw meat.
Yes.
And then some of the other countries, they're digging big holes and just throwing the people in them and putting some kind of powder. It might be lime, I don't know, and burying them.
Wow.
And here we are, in our comfortable countries, going to Walmart, and blah, blah, blah. And these people are being buried in mass graves. They're not even being given back to their family to have a proper burial. So where the hell did all of the plague come from? BP Earthwatch just did a video late this afternoon about some kind of substance that the Department of Defense wants to spray on a town in Oklahoma. We see all of these drills being conducted. We see the ads in Craigslist for the crisis actors. We see all of this on a staged front.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just don't have problems with the weather and the governments and the sun. Man, we got problems on all levels right now. For you people listening here that are U.S. citizens, live in the United States, our constitutional rights are being stepped on. They're being wrecked and about to be thrown in the damn garbage. And that goes for each and every one of you, whether you are a follower or whether you are a troll. It doesn't matter. People like me and many others that, shoot their mouth off and they're very vocal about a lot of these subjects. They're trying to put the kibosh on these people also. I know some of you listen to Richie from Boston. I listen to him. I agree with like almost everything that he says, except the flat earth thing. But hey, to each their own, But he was talking about it today. And I was listening to him, and he's right. He was mentioning, looking to put together truthers that, want to join together and be vocal, do live streams together. Hey, I'm all for it. If you don't like my subject matter, there's nothing I could do about that. If you don't believe in it, there's nothing I could do about it. But I am very vocal about standing up for what is right. And the United States Constitution is what we live by in this country. These were the rights, the law of the land that were put forth in this country. And I believe in human rights. Burying all of those people in a mass grave, burning them in pits. What the hell are we in like, you know, the medieval times?
Yes, that's when the plague ran rampant in Europe, was in medieval times.
Yeah.
And we've gone back to that, at least in Africa now.
Yeah, well, they're doing it over in the Middle East too.
Uh-huh.
They're just doing it in a you know, in a terrorist way
Oh, yes.
over there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, folks, you know, I wanted to share those photographs with you and some of the current information that we've come up with. And as I've mentioned, you know, getting into this time of every month, I mean, this is what we're going to see. We'll have a lot to talk about, and we'll probably have more, you know, photographic evidence to show. I hope, you know, I hope I answered everybody's questions about Steve Olson and WSO. That's what I'm pissed off about. Them trying to blame me for their fraudulent mishap. And like I said, I'm no pushover. Until they come clean and apologize publicly, I will be on their coattails. I don't care. I actually found Alex Luhan, buddy, commenting into one of the trolls' videos about Dr. Albers' book, egging them on. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Listen, Alex Luhan couldn't sit down and write his own name, let alone write a book. You know, and we're not going to sit here and thump the Bible, you know, and prey on people's faith like others do. You know, I just love all of you. You're just all so great. I just love all of you.
Yeah.
But anywho, it is what it is. Again, folks, these photographs will be up on the Planet X News Facebook page. If any of you want to download them, examine them, check them out, you're more than welcome to do so. You know, just don't use the photographs in a way, you know, that's fraudulent. If you want to examine the photographs, post them, talk about them, whatever you want to do. Just don't use them fraudulently. The young lady that supplied the photograph says that she might have some other ones that we should take a look at. I'll probably be involved in that, you know, tomorrow sometime. She's in Australia, 16 hours difference, I think. Something like that, 12, 16 hours. So we'll see what she comes up with. And in the meantime, we're going to keep track of everything that's going on. And believe me, you guys will be the first to know if I find something, and or it's something that we definitely need to bring to the forefront. Dr. Albers, any last words?
Yes, thank you, Scott. Well, it's been a very interesting live stream as usual. Thank you for, you know, having me with you and talking about the book and so on. It's been very interesting. And the photograph is absolutely amazing. And as usual, I'd like to say, and we've mentioned this before, that we're living in dangerous times and we don't know when something huge, a huge solar flare, a huge CME comes our way and affects our planet. And, you know, and we may have a huge earthquake somewhere. So we're living in dangerous times, and I think we should all deal with that. And I think the best way to deal with that is to realize that we could die. We could be forced into eternity at any time. And we should therefore prepare for that. And I think the best way to prepare for that is to get to know our Creator, develop a relationship with Him. And He will help us He will comfort us. He would give us peace. We all need peace. and it would help us to change in whatever way we would need to change, and perhaps love each other properly, love God properly, love each other the way that our Creator would have us do it. But we cannot do it by ourselves, so we obviously need His help. So this is what I'm saying. We need help to prepare spiritually, and I think this is a good time to prepare, because we don't know what's going to happen. As I said before, this planet is run by Lucifer. He's the father of lies. He wants basically just about every one of us dead. And so we need to prepare for the future. And that's my message. Get to know our Creator.
You preach it, sister girl. You preach it.
God.
You get up on that pulpit. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. God, I used to, those television evangelists, they used to get on my nerves so bad. Oh, my God.
Well, I hope I'm not, you don't think of me as one of them.
No. I was just trying to make light of the situation.
Okay. Yes.
Praise Jesus.
Thank you, Scott. Yes.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the man Jesus Christ.
Oh, good.
I mean, like I said, I went to Catholic school for 8 years. You know, I had a Bible study which was more historical, and I found the Bible to be very, very intriguing. The stories,
yes,
that were told, the times that those people lived in, and listen, they lived in the time of Jesus and slightly before his time. Man, these people lived in barbaric life situations. I mean, there were barbarians, man.
Yes.
I mean, you go back to start talking about the Roman times. Wow.
Yeah.
Barbaric situations. It just seems like, just seems like mankind can't catch a break.
No.
And like you said, it'd be great to live in love and peace and harmony.
Yes.
But even back in those days, things were barbaric. Things are still that way today. They're just a little bit different.
That's
we
right.
have technology now.
Yeah.
But anyways, folks, yes, it's been very interesting. It's always interesting with me.
Yes.
And stay tuned. And if any of you want to check out Dr. Albers' book, it is up on Amazon, both of them. And we're going to be working on getting out that bi-weekly, I don't want to call it a magazine, but we're going to call it a bi-weekly issue of 5 of her reports, all related to her findings with Planet X research. A lot of the photographs that we've captured, the observations, good reading information. And if you'd like to buy the book is up on Amazon. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and post these photographs on the Planet X News Facebook page. You're more than welcome to check them out, work with them, see what you find. And if you do find something interesting that you think I should know about, drop me an email, inbox me on the Planet X News Facebook page, and we'll go from there. But everybody, thank you for being here. Be safe.